What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome back to the Nerdy Narrative for a new weekly reading wrap-up. All of the things that I finished reading this week, what I'm still working on, and what I plan to read next. Starting with what I finished. And we're going to start with this one because I believe I have been working on this one for a month and a half. And I knew when I picked this one up, it's always historically been one of my least favorite books in the Wheel of Time. A lot of people talk about the slog when they talk about the Wheel of Time and they're referencing later books. For me, it's book 6. There was not enough happening in 700 pages for me to enjoy this reread. Really, all of the star moments for this one always occurred around Matt Cawthon. So I'm glad it's over. I'm probably gonna wait a couple of weeks before I start A Crown of Swords just to give myself to reset, recharge, and have a break from the series before I dive back in. Next up, I finished The Prox Transmissions by the Starset Society. If you are a fan of A.G. Riddle's action and pacing, and also a fan of the thriller sci-fi suspense that is often found in a Blake Crouch novel, I think you're really going to enjoy this one. I will say it could use a good editor. I do not say that lightly. In fact, I don't believe I have ever said this book needs an editor. And I don't mean that to be ugly. I think an editor could get a hold of this and take it from being a really good book to being a great book. There's just a couple of things that an editor would spot and say, hey, we need to close this little loop. I enjoyed the pacing. I enjoyed the action. I liked the mystery. You know, there were some really great twists and turns. I am excited for the next book in the series. I cannot wait to see what that's going to hold. I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch the videos for the first 2 albums. I believe this was written after the first album had already been out. The videos tie in with the book, and I believe the 3rd and 4th albums are going to tie in with the 2nd book of the series. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes out for that one because I really had a great time with this one. I also finished rereading book 7 of the Dresden Files, which is Deadbeat. Deadbeat has to have the best 3rd act of any of the Dresden novels. I would love to tell you why I think that. It is a huge, huge spoiler, but it is an iconic moment of the Dresden Files. If you've read the series, I would love to know your thoughts. Just make sure when you leave that comment, write Dresden spoiler and hit enter a bunch of times so that it'll hide anything you say from other people who are down there in the comments that haven't read the series. So many wonderful things happen in this book. I am dying for Chris to catch up. My husband is reading Dresden for the first time. He is at the end of Grave Peril. I hope he gets finished in the next day or so because we are loading up to head to Mississippi. That's a really long drive. And I'm actually looking forward to listening to the audiobook of Summer Night again if he is game for it on the drive. And then maybe we can listen to Death Mass together on the way back because that's one of my favorite. That's one of my top 5. And I would put Deadbeat right up there in the top 5 Dresden books for me as well. I will just close by saying Polka will never die. Some of y'all are thinking that girl needs help, and you would be right. That wraps up all of the things that I finished reading this week. Let's talk about what I am still working on. I did begin Redemption, which is the 2nd book in T.R. Sloth's Legends of Lightning series. Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to finish this one tonight. I hope so. I have less than 100 pages. This book is really good. Book 2 just starts a little after book 1, and my gosh, I did not care for any of the characters in book 1. They felt underdeveloped, just not very well defined for me to feel anything for. But this one, holy smokes, there is character development for days. I am finally emotionally invested in some characters in this one. The plot is carried over from book 1. We are still fighting the big bad wolf. That is such a terrible pun. It's a very dark and twisted retelling of our fairy tale characters that we're familiar from Disney, the Brothers Grimm, the Realm Walker, Esther, who is a librarian who feels like she comes from our time in a world of no magic. She is able to cross over into different realms, which she does. She's in this hidden realm here. But Esther has this prophecy that she's going to be the Realm Walker who's going to save this realm. I'm assuming this person that she's up against is how Esther's going to save the realm, but you never know. I know there's a 3rd book coming, and I hope it comes out very, very soon, because I thought I'm gonna sit down and I'm just gonna read the prologue of this one, just get started. That night I read 42 pages before I even knew what had happened. Right at the end of book 1 is where I felt the author found their stride, and they just continued it in book 2, and I'm just on board for that journey, that ride. What else am I reading? I picked up the audiobook for Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King. This is a trilogy that I wanted to read before Holly comes out in September. Holly is a character that first makes her appearance in the Bill Hodges trilogy. I have done this backwards. I actually met Holly for the first time in a short story of Stephen King's If It Bleeds, which is the most recent appearance that she made. And I just went backwards. I went and picked up The Outsiders, which comes after this trilogy. So yeah, it spoiled some of the trilogy for me, but that's okay. I don't mind. I know how this is gonna end. That's cool. I mean, you pretty much, when you pick up one of these and you read the description and you see what the description is, the case is going to get solved. It's all the fun of what happens in the midst of it, the cat and mouse game. In this one, we meet Detective Bill Hodges, who is retired, and there is an unsolved case that was left when he retired. It was the Mercedes killer. Mr. Mercedes has begun contacting the retired detective. This killer knows that there is something wrong with them. In fact, they have done an excellent job identifying the outliers that shaped them into what they're doing and why. And I'm just, yeah, but this is really good. I'm listening to the audiobook. Will Patton is the narrator, and he is doing such a wonderful job. I've been enjoying listening to this one while I go for runs or clean the house or cook. I'm almost done with this one, and I think for the rest of June and July are all self-published books that don't have audiobooks, so I should be able to finish listening to that series before Holly comes out in September. So that will take care of all of the things that I finished. What I'm still working on, let's talk about what I have left to finish, and that is Cherry Blossom by Wilbur Seymour. This is book 3 in the Kuiper series. I want to get this one read because I'm going to take book 4 with me when I go to Mississippi. I want to get that series finished. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. I've been trying to read this one for forever. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be the next book that I pick up after I finish Redemption, and then I will be reading this beauty, The Sword of Mercy and Wrath, the Swords of Dominion book 1. My lord, this book is just absolutely beautiful. Once I finish The Sword of Mercy and Wrath, I will then move into No Port in a Storm by Cal Black. That is the second book in Legends and Legacies series. Do I have that right? The title of the series has completely left me, but I really feel like Legends is in the series title and Legacies is in the series title. At any rate, it is a Gaslamp Western fantasy series that is just to die for. I've had the arc for a couple of months now and I just have not had a chance to get it read. I bet the printed copy is available, which I need to get one so I can add it to my library right next to book 1 where it belongs. So guys, that is where I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you all have had a wonderful week so far. I hope you have a great weekend lined up. Take good care of yourselves, and I will catch you in the next one.